Hey guys, it's time for another boss ranking, and this time we're gonna go with worst to best. I still only did one playthrough of Elden Ring DLC, so this is gonna be based completely on my first playthrough and what I felt fighting the bosses for the first time. So let's begin this. At number 11, and this was an incredibly easy pick, we have Commander Gaius. In the past there was a Britus charge, then we had Osiris charge, and now we have Commander Gaius charge. I mean, Jesus Christ, this charge is so unbelievably annoying. I mean, I tried everything. I tried dodging to the left, to the right, diagonals, jumping, nothing worked, like nothing. So I got to the point that I even put on my Flask of Wondrous Physics this bubble tier where, you know, if he hits us, it barely does any damage. And I just enter the fog gate and I stay there every single time and I just take the hit because I knew I was not gonna dodge that thing. Eventually I found a way to just run to the side and avoid his initial charge, but yeah, later he does it again, so it continues to be annoying. Another thing that was a bit too much, it was like the 7 or 8 combo that he did. I have no idea how to dodge the whole thing. It killed me many times. And this boss also, you know, it's the only boss on the game that has the same music. You know, he reuses the music from, you know, the main game. But, you know, second phase is definitely better. And there's also, you know, another charge, but this one you can actually dodge. He has some cool AoEs. So yeah, maybe on my second playthrough I have a better idea on how to fight this boss and I like him more. And I'm not saying it's a bad boss, but you know, of these 11 bosses, without a doubt, Commander Guy is absolute worst. At number 10 we have Skadut Tre Avatar, and this boss, you know, my experience was probably the same as many other people. I beat this boss like in my second or third try right away, first phase. And suddenly I realized that From Software decided to troll us yet again, because the boss did not die and yet he gets up and he killed me in like 5 seconds. And you know, a few minutes later I realized it doesn't have just 2 but 3 phases. And yeah, I don't know, this is a boss I don't have that much to talk about. I think the arena looks good. You know, the troll factor is also kind of a funny thing. It really caught me off guard. You know, he has some cool moves, you know, like the charge on second phase, which it actually works. You can actually dodge the charge, unlike a certain boss that I just spoke to. And you know, it's not a very hard boss. It's actually more on the easy side. So yeah, I think it's a very average boss. Not too good, not too bad. It's fine. At number 9 we have the Trent Knight. Jesus Christ, I don't like this name. So yeah, this boss, as soon as I saw him, you know, I just reminded me of Orphan of Kos on a horse, but on a very silly looking Orphan of Kos. You know, he is not scary at all. And I just started laughing. What can I say? I really started laughing. And then he jumps off his horse and he starts moving like a ballerina, and his horse, you know, just tries to attack me also, and I was laughing my head off with this boss. I don't know. And I guess that's why I didn't take this boss seriously and I died so many times. I just burst out laughing with many of these boss moves. I don't know. But you know, you kind of should take this boss seriously because he does hit hard. And I don't know, there's a few things. I wasn't the biggest fan on this boss, which is like, I found him a little bit hard to hit because, you know, he just comes, he does his combos, and then he gets the horse and just leaves. So many times I would try to hit him and I was missing. And I think on second phase also, he doesn't change that much, you know. I wish he had a much bigger moveset, but he just basically does a few AoEs, and I think that's all I remember. You know, from him heading to his second phase attacks. I don't remember anything else. But outside of that, you know, the boss, you know, the entrance to the arena is absolutely very memorable. You know, the big jump that we do, and you know, there's a really wide arena to fight him. That is always a very cool thing for me. It feels really nice to dodge all of his attacks. It also feels really cool to jump over his AoEs on second phase. So yeah, I guess Trent Knight is probably the funniest looking boss in the game, and yeah, I like him. Number 8, we have Meteor, Mother of Fingers, and this is one of the most incredible audiovisual spectacles that From Software has ever done. I really think this is absolutely stunning. You know, the absolutely incredible arena mixed with the insane visual of the boss and the absolutely crazy alien soundtrack. Like, I was in awe. Like, I was really in awe. And even the attacks that he has, some of the AoEs are so mind-boggling spectacular. So I think Meteor is above everything else an audiovisual spectacle. Is it the fight good? Well, I would say first phase works well, even though like this finger attack I think is a bit too much. But second phase clearly has some problems. I don't know if the problem was me, but I think there's a few things that really felt undodgeable, like the transition. Unless you move like crazy fast and go as far away as possible, I never managed to dodge through the AoE. So it's pretty much, it just feels like it's a distance thing or you're in big troubles. It also happens with the 3 lasers that he shoots. If I'm very far away from him, I can dodge the 3 lasers no problem, but if I'm close to him, I would always get hit by the second or the third. And there's also this gigantic laser attack that, I don't know man, how the hell do you dodge this? I have no idea. So yeah, in a way, I kinda almost feel that Trent Knight belongs more in this spot than Meteor, but I am a sucker for visuals, and Meteor is such an incredible audiovisual experience, so I'm gonna give the edge over Trent Knight, and Meteor is my number 8. Number 7 we have Ramina, Saint of the Bud, and yeah, that's not a very cool name, but outside of that there are 2 things that stayed in my mind as I was fighting her. Why does she look like Barney, and why is she such an easy boss? Like, seriously, I mean, I do really like the design of this boss. Like, she's like a third woman, a third centipede, and a third scorpion. That is awesome. But why pink? Why is she pink? Or is this purple? I don't know. Why? Why this color? I don't understand. And yeah, also I think she's too easy, man. She's like basically the final boss before the final boss in a way. If you want to enter the, you know, the final stage, you have to go through her. And I was so surprised that she's by far the easiest boss in the entire DLC. So yeah, maybe she was better as a first boss, I don't know. But, you know, just because a boss is easy doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, after all, I am putting her on number 7, but I just think it's something that stood out like crazy. But, you know, if you can skip that, Ramina, it's a very, very fun boss. I really love her design, like I just said. The OST is also good. I do love her moveset. She has lots of fun attacks to dodge and very visual appealing. I just wish she didn't remind me of Barney. Seriously, what is it with this color? At number 6 we have the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, and this was my first boss in the DLC, and it took me like 1 hour to learn how to dance with him. And which means I died for 1 hour basically, until I finally beat him. And like the major impression of negativity that I see on this boss, for me, it's the camera. Like, Jesus Christ, like if I would get in a corner, I knew I was gonna die. There's nothing I could do because the camera in this fight just flips like crazy all the time. It's a factor that it really pushes the boss down for me. Because this boss has so many good things. I mean, the arena is really cool. It has one of the best soundtracks, probably second best soundtrack in the entire DLC. It's really, really good, really epic. It's really the kind of music that I like. Another thing that I really like about this boss is that, you know, I might be wrong on this, but isn't this the first boss with 4 phases in From Software library? I really cannot remember of a boss with 4 phases, and I think this is cool because he has his normal first phase, then he goes into lightning's phase, and he has a ice phase, and he has a wind phase. I don't know, man, it's just so cool that he has such variety in this boss fight. So yeah, the dancing lion really caused a major first impression, and you know, I think that is very important for a first boss. So if it wasn't the camera issues, I would probably even rank him higher, but the camera issues are there. So number 6 it is. And at number 5 we have Radam, which is the final boss in the game, and I'm not gonna lie, I knew he was gonna be the final boss. Sadly, I entered in some Facebook group about Elden Ring, and some guy in the comments decided to wrote that he was the final boss, and yeah, I got spoiled. And I was a bit disappointed, like I did not expect at all that Radam would be the final boss of the game. Like I understand it's probably because of lore purposes, but I really hope that it would be someone completely new that I've never seen before. But yeah, it's Radam, what can I say? That it's the final boss. Let's see how it goes, the fight. And you know, started with first phase and I was enjoying it. Not much problems there. It has a cool move set, fun to dodge attacks. And then second phase begins, and that's where the fight started to feel absolutely unfair. It started to feel like impossible, like there's so much going on. And you know, because every time he attacks, now the attacks are followed by AoEs, and you also have Miquella's hair in the way, so that the fight becomes even more confusing. And he also has some attacks that I simply could not figure out how to dodge them. I really did not find any solution for some of his attacks. And the fight felt impossible, you know, but after, you know, many hours of dying and improving a little bit, little by little, I started to like the fight. The fight is extremely intense. It's a non-stop adrenaline rush, and also it has probably, which is my favorite music in the entire DLC, and it also probably has the best arena in the game for you know, when it comes to the DLC. It's absolutely phenomenal looking. And when I finally beat him, you know, it's the reason why we play these games. It was a rush of emotions, like I was crazy happy. And I think honestly that Radam will be the boss that will grow the most on me as I, you know, do more playthroughs. I really see Radam becoming one of my favorite bosses on future playthroughs. But I'm here to rank them based on my first playthrough, and so because of that, he gets number 5. At number 4 we have Bale, and yeah, this was extremely expected. I mean, how could you not guess that there would be a dragon boss fight in the DLC? We had one on Dark Souls 2 DLC, we had one on Dark Souls 3 DLC, and because Elden Ring main game has a ton of dragons, I definitely was expecting this to happen. And my biggest question before I fight the boss was, is it going to be better than Midra? Because I still think Midra was better than Placido Sax, so I was curious to see if Bale would be better than him. And you know, this boss kind of works a little bit like Midra. You have to go for the head, but you know, that's one of the parts where I think this boss doesn't do as well as Midra, and which is like every time Midra attacks you, he like rewards you like with 2 or 3 attacks that you can give with no problem. You don't need to have insane reflexes or anything. You dodge his attacks, he rewards. But here, I don't know, man, like it felt that every time he would attack, he would give me like a single second to move extremely fast and attack him on the head, or else I would hit the hair. And that happened many times. I kept missing my hits. He would either start another attack right away, or he would jump back. I don't know, it was just not so much fun as I wanted. I still think Midra is the best dragon fight, but I have to admit that when it comes to visual spectacle, when it comes to build-up, like this boss completely annihilates you know, every dragon boss fight they ever done until today. Like serious, the build-up is something out of this world. I think it's probably the best build-up they ever done to a boss. You know, you have the Egon talking about the dragon, his crazy super cool lines, and you have dead bodies of dragons everywhere until you get there, and the lightnings in the sky. It's absolutely phenomenal. Another thing that is really good, it's the soundtrack. I also like it. It matches very well what's happening on the screen. And of course I have to talk about the transition, because oh my god, like it's seriously out of this world to look at the wings, you know, and the explosions and everything, and the soundtrack. Everything is so perfectly. But I think the best moment of the entire fight has to be this attack right here. Oh my god, like seeing this and listening to this on a very high volume TV, it's absolute cinema. Like serious, what a moment, what a boss. Bale is freaking awesome, very deserving of the number 4 spot. And at number 3 you have Midra or Midra, I don't know the exact way how to say his name. And again, like Bale, I think the build up for this boss is absolutely incredible. You know, you go through these haunted woods and then you enter his haunted mansion and you have to discover these hidden paths, you know, behind the paintings. And, you know, until you finally find this old little man and we take down his minuscule health bar only to be faced with a badass Lord of the Frenzy Flame. It is so freaking cool. And like, this is the type of boss I like. I like humanoid fights that feel like a dance in a really beautiful arena with the soundtracks that honestly, the more I listen to it, the more I love it. Like, serious, Midra's soundtrack is so freaking good. But I think the fight has something that I wish it didn't have, which is something that I already made a video about on the past, and that is, this is a script fight. Like, he always starts the fight with the same attack, and he always does the transition to second phase after losing a certain amount of health. And that allowed me to come up with a strategy extremely fast that would remove 60% of his health, making him one of the easiest bosses in the game. And I wish that was not a thing. I wish he started the fight every time with like a different attack, or maybe he would start with the same attack but it could not be punished like crazy. I don't know, something, because this boss has a crazy amount of HP, but he poses close to zero challenge because he can be so easily punished due to the fact that the fight is scripted. But I have to focus in the things that I love in this fight, and he has a crazy amount of things to love. I definitely think Midra is very deserving of this spot. I think he's one of the best bosses of the DLC. What an experience. What a badass boss, honestly. And at number 2 we have Rana, which is the sister of Rana, and it's so easy to confuse the two names. Like, seriously, so many times I want to say Rana and I say Rana. That probably happens with a lot of people. But anyway, about the boss, I mean, it is at number 2, man. Like, what else can I say? This is an amazing boss. This was the second boss that I fought. Tried to beat her without any Skadut Tre fragments, and I did, you know, but it took forever because she's really hard. And this is one of those fights, you know, it's just one of those fights that feels like a dance, man. It's exactly what I want. Even the song, even the soundtrack feels like a dance. Like, it's so freaking cool. And you know, if I want to nitpick, I would say, you know, that the second phase transition, I wish it didn't took that long, because, you know, you can punish her like crazy. Maybe, you know, she could be like Morgoth, where she, you know, when he does the transition he receives less damage, so that could be a thing, which is also something that happens on Godric when he transitions to second phase. I wish that was a thing for Rana. And I also wished she had an intro, man. Like, such an incredible boss like this, I don't understand why there's no intro, man. Or a cutscene at halfway point, something. Because she deserves it. She's an incredibly cool boss, she's very challenging, she has never-ending combos, some really cool spells. She even has a one-shot move that feels really cool to jump over, once you learn, of course, because I did not learn and I died first time. And also, doesn't this fight remind you of Pontiff Sullivan from Dark Souls 3, which is one of my favorite bosses in that game? I mean, Rana is very close from being a perfect boss. And at number 1 we have Mesmer, and I'm really happy to say that, you know, the villain that you see on the cover for the DLC did not disappoint. And first I'm gonna start with the things I didn't like, because I've been saying bad things about every single boss on this list, so I'm also gonna nitpick on Mesmer. And that's exactly that, it's a nitpick. I think the arena is not exactly memorable, but I think it's like this on purpose for the snake visuals to stand out. So yeah, I wish the arena was more fleshed out, but I think it serves a purpose. So with that out of the way, let's just say Mesmer excels in every single department. The moveset, the soundtrack, the difficulty, the cutscenes, the boss design, his dialogue, everything is so flawless with Mesmer. And yeah, like, to the point that I got myself thinking, is this really the best boss From Software ever made? And I don't know, I can't answer to that just yet. I think it's a bit too soon. I only done one playthrough, and yeah, I did fight him many times, I died many times, so yeah. But I still think that I haven't mastered this fight. I still want to go to a second playthrough before I say something like Mesmer is the best boss of all time. But what I can say is that without a doubt, Mesmer is the best boss in the DLC. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I sure enjoyed making it, and you know, please share in the comments what are your thoughts. I'm curious to see what are your favorite bosses. So see you on the next video, guys. Bye bye.